you have to do this. This is what you should be doing. No, what you should be doing is what you can do and what you can do consistently. Best time for someone who has type 2 diabetes to move is to just sneak in a 10-minute walk.
Well, and that you actually was a perfect segue to what I wanted to ask you from a long term perspective as well, which is, and again, stats. We've talked about stats over and over again, but more than 80% of people abandon their health goal within first 6 weeks. So, hey, I'm going to go lose weight. I'm going to go drop 10 pounds over the next whatever 2 months, for example, and 80% of the people that will make that call will abandon within the first 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Less than one will stick to those changes long term. So again, the rates start dropping drastically of consistency of sticking to it for a long term win, which again to me usually doesn't mean that people are lazy. I mean, they just
No.
they can be thought of it that way, but most people are not failing because they're lazy. They're failing because changing behavior, you talked about that, right? Is hard. If you don't have the right support, if you don't have the right strategy, if you don't have the right mindset. And we see that often obviously with a lot of our members and folks that we are supporting and helping. But why in your mind do you feel that so many people feel like failures psychologically when it comes to changing their health, and what are some of the biggest mindset shifts that you work on, you recommend to people to say, hey, let's look at it differently? What does that
Mhm.
shift look like?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that all or nothing thinking,
Mm,
that black and white, and I think this comes from diet, that diet culture, that diet
mm,
mentality. And I think this is another thing that, like, keto diet kinda drives, is
yeah,
that you're either on the diet or you're off the diet.
yeah,
So, you are doing everything right, or you step off just a little bit, and then you feel like a failure.
mm,
But it's not like that. It's about it does come down to every individual choice.
mm,
And even if you, end up making a choice that isn't one that you started out that morning wanting to make, that doesn't
yeah,
mean that you failed. It means that you made one bad choice and then you just continue on. It doesn't mean that I fell off my diet or I'm off the wagon. It's it's about moving the needle in the direction of making more healthy, intentional choices
mm,
and less of the unintentional choices, or making those choices intentional. Planning that in so that it doesn't seem like a failure.
yeah,
And then, like I said earlier, these unrealistic expectations that you see on social
yeah,
media, that you see advertised out there, these highlight reels of people filling their fridge with just healthy food, and
yeah,
the 2-hour gym workouts, and then people feel like if they can't stick to that,
yeah,
that they failed. And then also this over reliance, and you mentioned motivation before. Motivation is very unreliable,
mm,
and it's natural that it wanes and it peaks and it goes up and down, and our mood can influence that,
mm,
how much sleep we get, how much stress we're under. So it's better to focus on habits that you can stick to, and building, motivation is part of it, but also when you're deciding on a new behavior, making sure that it's something that you can stick to.
yeah. It's
And
interesting. You said that you're talking about the all or nothing, right? The the way the culture is going right now, our society is going right now. I find that binary response that we as humans, we as a society are incorporating in everything. It could be as simple as a celebrity that's the most favorite one day, and then they're falling off graces. They're the worst people ever, and we're never going to talk to them, or we're never going to support them and all. We are very we are a very pendulum sort of a society now these days. It's that
Mhm.
either we've swung this way all of a sudden, that hey, don't touch anything when it comes to food, like don't touch carbs at all. They're bad for you and they're going to kill you and they're the worst thing in the world. Or the pendulum swings all the way over here. It's like, hey man, just eat only protein and go heavy on
Yep.
keto, and not realizing that, again, to your earlier point, not everything is meant for everybody, right? So when we
Yeah.
we have talked to a lot of our members that we're supporting, and what we realize, or what they have seen in science over and over again as well, is that, if especially when it comes to diabetes, if your kidneys are weak, for lack of a better term, or if they are deteriorating over time, and you put a massive dose of keto based diet or protein based diet like keto, and heavily rely on keto
Mhm.
fat and protein, you're going to accelerate the deterioration rather than
Yes.
actually helping it, right? But then again, the misinformation from a food perspective, or this binary nature of, no man, I'm only going to do keto, can cause more harm than good, and people have to realize that. It's frustrating at times, I'm sure, as it
Yep.
is for you as well, when you talk to people and you want to bang your head against the wall and say, man, come on, you're not getting it, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. But that's unfortunately the way things are, and we're just hoping to change, one mind at a time, if you will,
Yeah.
for
And
if
it's really
possible.
easy. I mean, I'll admit years ago I fell into that keto trap,
Yeah.
and it's almost addicting because you do see that big weight loss
Yeah.
at first, that and it's called the whoosh, and it's mostly
Mm,
water, because when you're taking the sugar out of your cells, you're also losing water, and then
mm,
you just wanna keep that going, and it does end up stalling. And then it's also this, you can go so crazy with keto with the sticks and checking your urine for ketones and I'm in
mm.
ketosis or I'm not. And then you eat one too many carbs and now you're a failure because you're
Yeah.
no longer in ketosis. I think it's psychologically damaging
Yeah.
as well.
Agreed. Agreed. So what's your message to someone who is feeling overwhelmed, that, again, there's a lot of mixed messages on what they should be doing versus what they are doing, what they're trying to make incremental, marginal, small changes? What's your message to someone like that?
Um, so what I like to do is I like to shift somebody from feeling like they're failing or
Mm,
feeling like they can't change to shifting that to being curious about their setbacks and why they can't change and figure out what's getting in the way,
mm,
building that self-awareness. It could be a lot of different things. There's the addictive nature of sugar, right? And of our food. I mean, the food industry nowadays, it's not designed for our health,
yeah.
and they know this. It's to keep us coming back. These foods have addictive qualities. They're unhealthy. They want us. They keep us coming back for more. Even these labels that you look at the front of the package and it looks like it's so
Yeah.
healthy, but then when you turn it around and look at the ingredients and the nutrition facts, you're finding out that it's not quite not so healthy.
Yeah, those 9,000 different ingredients, you're just like, man, I can't even pronounce all these, and now I'm going to consume those. And
Yep, and
it is,
all these
yeah.
hidden added sugars,
Yeah.
that I mean, I looked at one the other day and it really looked like, "Oh, this is a cereal I can eat," and when I turned it around, I'm like, you'll hear me in the store and I'll say, "Sugar," on the shelf. People probably think I'm crazy, but it is in everything, and
Yes.
the reason why it is in everything is because, um, it triggers these reward pathways in our
Mm,
brain that make us want more sugar.
mm,
So that's, one reason. But, people also have emotional reasons that they eat.
mhm. Right.
certain foods, or they've developed these coping mechanisms. And then, just a habit, right?
Yeah.
Just like we bite our nails, we turn to food.
Yeah.
Um, you know, things that have been with us since childhood. So, instead of when you make a choice that you don't want to make, instead of beating yourself up, examining the reasons why and
Mm.
becoming a detective of your own mind and your own body, instead of, oh, I can never make this work.
Yeah.
Because that's what you see so often. A lot of people come to me, and they have failed in the past, and they don't, sometimes it's even hard to convince people that they to give it another shot, because so many times, um, they haven't been able to stick it through in the
Mm.
past.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting, the psychological side of it, and it keeps coming back to what you can stick with, right? So the real victory isn't necessarily in the perfection. It's in progress that
Mhm.
lasts. Actually, my daughter has this saying. She's only 9, but I guess she heard it on a soccer field, um, you know, um, over or the soccer practice, and her coach, what he explained to the whole team was, uh, is in the past it used to be practice makes perfect. Right now they're changing the mindset to practice makes progress. Right, and I think that
I love
is such a great lesson to learn. Not just for, I mean, obviously, I'm glad that my daughter at a young age, at 9, 10 years old, is learning this, that practice will make progress. It's not about perfection. I think that will go a long ways for folks that are trying to get healthy as well.
mhm, I agree with that. I was thinking the other day, because I guess I consider myself an athlete, and one of the old sayings, right, is Yoda, um,
Hmm.
"Don't try, do," or
Yeah.
"Do, don't try," or ever how he says. And, that was one of these things that we kinda idolize that saying, but that's not really the right mindset,
Yeah.
right? Because we wanna, you might not be able to do it right now, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try,
Yeah.
and practice and make that, progress, and not strive for that perfection that very few of us can achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and try to follow it as much as possible. I know it's hard, but it is always aspirational. It's always something that we can all aspire to do, aspire to be, as we move forward, as we get older. Valerie, I want to thank you so much for such an insightful and grounding conversation. This was awesome. And what
Agreed.
we learned from you today is that managing blood glucose, managing blood sugar managing blood sugar isn't just about glucose, but it's about protecting the whole system, especially your heart. And it can
Yes.
start with small changes, make the tiny ones, see how they work, stick to it as you can, make modifications as you need, but be kind to yourself, work towards it on a regular basis, and great things
Yeah.
are possible.
And if I can just add, it
Yeah.
is about more than the heart. It is, you mentioned the kidneys,
Yeah.
it's the brain, it's the circulation in the legs, all everything is connected.
Mm.
And like, see very often people try to separate everything into systems. And this is another thing you see in my space, the wellness space, is they tell you to niche down.
Mm.
So you're focusing on just one thing. But what I learned is, like, the same lifestyle, because a lot of this is driven by inflammation,
Mm.
the diabetes, the heart disease, the osteoarthritis. Now they're saying research is showing that it also affects our brain health and our risk of dementia as we get older. And it really, everything really is connected, and the same lifestyle changes that you would make that reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes, or reverses it, or helps you better manage it, also reduces the risk of heart disease, of joint damage, of cognitive decline. So, when you're managing your diabetes better, you're really protecting your whole body.
Mm. Mm. Thanks for those last comments. So, having said that, where can our listeners find more about you and Nurse Guided Wellness?
Okay. So, Nurse Guided Wellness is my YouTube channel. I
I
have
love that name,
a
by the way. Love that
I love it too. I wish I thought of it first because my business name is Genuine Glow Wellness,
name.
and I just haven't gone through the legal stuff to
Yeah.
change it yet, but I do wanna switch it to Nurse Guided Wellness. But they can find me on my YouTube channel, which is Nurse Guided Wellness. I do also have a website, and that is genuineglowwellness.com. And on there, I do have a couple programs. I am working on, like I mentioned, these emotional barriers
Hmm.
to making more intentional choices. So I'm working on a program for that right now. I'm very excited about that. Um, so on my genuineglowwellness.com website, you can get a hold of me. I have one-on-one coaching available. I also have several different programs and courses and stuff that you can find there. But I have it's growing a lot right now, my YouTube channel, Nurse Guided Wellness. And I'll have a couple videos on diabetes coming up. I talk a lot about heart health, and I talk a lot about just motivation. Like last week, I had a video about the healthy food labels and how to
Hmm.
better read food labels. So a lot of just basic health and wellness advice that is grounded in science.
Well, and we'll be sure to share some of that with our listeners as well. So please do check out Valerie's great work, her channels, her her website as well. And for those of you who are looking to take back control of your health, obviously Healed is here to support every step of the way. We'd encourage you to visit iheald.com. So it's the letter I, HEALD.com, to learn how sustainable lifestyle changes, small, big, and everything in between, and which are supported by expert coaching and the right tech, can help you reverse type 2 diabetes, improve your heart health at the same time, and give you the life that you deserve moving forward. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you on the next episode.